Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. Now Glay is a Descendant that a lot of people use. All my homies have been using Glay. We've all invested in Glay, whether it be for purge, whether it be for bossing, whether it be for anything. Glay is a very loved Descendant and she absolutely wrecks and destroys and dominates inside of the Axion. So let me give you the setup you're going to want to run for Glay, and yeah, let's get right on into today's video. Starting off with Glay's modules. So mid-air maneuvering immediately, because Glay is a little bit slow, so you want to be able to use that grapple, melee flick around, and then use this to basically be fast. So that is what we are going to go with. Next up for the red module, people do use Predator Instinct. I, however, do not use this. I just don't like the way it works. Whenever I've tested it, it has literally never given me a buff. On the Relic, it doesn't do very much at all, if basically nothing. On the Dagger, it does a little bit, but the Dagger is so strong that there's literally 0 point. So I do not use a red module on Glay. If you prefer using the Predator Instinct red mod, then absolutely go for it. But in this instance, I'm not going to bother. Next up, let's talk about cooldown for this build. So with Glay, you want to be at maxed cooldown. So with this, we are going to go with MP conversion, and we are also going to go with nimble fingers. Now, because of Glay's abilities, and we do not use her abilities to actually deal damage, you can go with 2 focus on modules. That can be basically anything. So we mostly will be using Glay's third ability, so focus on non-attribute and focus on singular. If you would like, I'm just going to use dimension because I've got it catalyzed for there. But in general, you can use any 2 focus on modules with Glay. Just focus dimension and singular actually makes sense. The other ones don't. So yeah, that's what you're going to want to go with. Now with Glay, with her abilities, we want to also make sure we've got plenty of HP to deal with this. So I will go with increased HP, and I will also go with Battle of Stamina. Now, why Battle of Stamina over something like, let's say, Stim Accelerant, even though this has double the HP amount? It's for that duration. Glay does want to perfect loop her duration, so this is exactly what is going to give you that perfect loop. Now with this, we are going to increase our duration. So for duration, we're going to go with skill extension. As well as skill extension, we are going to go with maximize duration. Now, even just alone with this, you can see right now we are almost at the same level of cooldown and the same level of duration. Now we're getting there. We're getting pretty close to what we want to be at. For damage, with Glay, for gunning, you always want shock focus for firearm attack. This is going to help you out. And then for our final module, we want to be using HP collector, not walker tightrope, because this relies on you having low HP. And with Glay, you want to always be stacked and absolutely balling with HP. So HP collector is going to help you, and you're definitely going to need this, especially given some of the other things in this build shortly coming up. Now, if we look at this build for what it is, we are in a position where we have more cooldown than duration. What you can do is you can drop one of these focus modules, and now you have 9.8 to 9.8 in exact perfect loop. If you don't have max fire rate on your weapon, you can use improved drive shaft. So if we go with drive shaft, accelerated drive shaft if you do not have max fire rate on your weapons, but if you do, then improved drive shaft for more explosive damage for the restored relic, which is gonna be one of our weapons. Now, the trigger module on Glay. Trigger mods are back and forth, and it does seem like the developers just did not include Glay when they were thinking about how to buff the Descendants. So with this, Kuiper Hollow Points is going to be the best trigger mod for Glay. Now, the reason this is the best is whenever you hit a weak point, you basically get more weak point damage, and if you do not hit a weak point, you build up more stacks, which will in turn give you more damage when you do hit the weak points. So essentially, just use Kuiper Hollow Points for Glay is the correct option. Other than that, Arcane Metal Jacket does not trigger because Glay does not have MP. So yeah, this is the base and the most important thing that you are going to want to go with. So for our modules, this is basically an almost perfect Glay setup. So yeah, this is the modules you're going to want to run. Now let's have a look at the reactor and external components. For the reactor, the mounting and the skill power does not mean anything. You just want cooldown and you just want duration up on your Glay. So that's basically it. Just cooldown duration up for her reactors, and yeah, that's basically it. That's simple as it gets. For your external components with Glay, you've got 2 options. So with this, we are going to be using two pieces of sets. If you use 2 pieces of Annihilation, this is your first option. You can run that and you can run that. So you can run this if you want additional defense on your Glay, is what I would recommend. However, for Glay specifically, I think that your best call is going to be the Firebrand, or 2 pieces of the Firebrand set. Now, the reason we are going with 2 pieces of Firebrand is because of the additional duration you can get. Another option that you can choose with Glay is going to come up shortly, but it's either for duration, Firebrand, or it's going to be Annihilation. Now for your other 2 comps with Glay, you are going to want Shell Crusher. This is 100% one of your best options for Glay, so this is going to be something you definitely want to go with as well. So you'd want to pop on this over here, and then you'd also want to throw on one of these. Now for your external components, you want to have HP and defense on every single one of the cores. For your actual stats, you want to make sure you have max HP on the top is your key stat. Then you also want to go with HP recovery modifier and chill resistance for your sensor. This would be another ideal one. And then for your memory, you want electric resistance and defense, and then just toxic resistance for the bottom one. And yeah, this is simple. Okay, so this is what you would want to do for your external components. Now, just to mix it up a little bit, because this is an option for you guys, and I do want to give you the best information possible. If you do look at the build, sorry, if you look at the build, we are already up on duration to cooldown. What you can do is technically drop Firebrand and use 2 pieces of the new Nell set, the Ballistic Tracker. This is going to give you additional weak point damage, and this will indeed allow you to do even more weak point damage. With the Restored Relic, this is going to be an absolute beast. So this is definitely another option, and this is the option I will be using in the gameplay. I can Axiura Leo Cephala, thank you for the follow, I really appreciate that. Okay, next up, let's talk about Glay's Arcade Tree. So with Glay's Arcade Tree, we are going to make it fairly simple. Glay's a gunning descendant, so we're going immediately towards gunning perks. We're going to go immediately up to enhanced firearm attack, and then we are going to go across to crit damage. We are also going to go down to enhanced crit rate, multi-hit chance over here, multi-hit chance here, and multi-hit damage over here. And then for our last few nodes, we are going to build up over here, grab ourselves a little bit of that, and then for our final node, you can either grab, like, additional additional fire rate, or crit damage or crit rate. Either one really doesn't matter. You can grab additional multi-hit chance or multi-hit damage. In this instance, I'm just gonna go with additional fire rate, crit rate, sorry, I cannot read anymore. But yeah, this is essentially the tree you'd want to go with Glay. We're using multi because of the weapons. Let's get on into the weapons now. So for the weapons, because we're in the Axion plains and the mobs have a lot of resistances, we're going to be mixing it up quite a bit with our weapons. I'm going to go with 2 restored relics. I'm going to go with an electric relic and also a toxic relic. For our final weapon, I'm going to go with a last dagger, and this is going to be a chill last dagger. For the substats on the relic, this is what I'm going with for electricity. So this is the electric relic. You want to 100% make sure you've got yourself the triple 20 fire rates. You see, with this relic, I've got 2 19s, and with this relic, I have 3 20s. I'll show you the difference in game because it is a massive difference. I'm going to be using the toxic one way more than the electric one. Trust me on that. So over here for the modules on here, this is what you are going to want to go with for the relic, and then for the modules on the other relic, it's the exact same. However, you just want to make sure that you change the element to the corresponding element. So the element on here is of course going to be toxic. Now that's the 2 restored relics done. For the last dagger, we are going to go with this rounds per mag on your substat. Make sure to change that. You can go with crit rate, that would help out. With Glay, you really don't need it. So yeah, that's basically what you would want on the dagger. With this over here, this is what you'd want to run on the dagger. You could mix ultra precision strike with overwhelm, or you could also mix it with tenacious hunter. It's all preference. I'd say give it a shot, mess around with it and see which one you like the most. For your actual module though, heavy on the real life fighter. This makes a very big difference. So yeah, absolutely make sure you get that. Now, for your inversions with Glay, there is balance within this. We've got good electric damage, we've got good toxic damage, and we've got good chill. These two weapons will give you fire inanimately, so we are going to buff this and we're going to go with the fire rounds. As well as that, we're going to go with strike point amp to buff more weak point, and then we are also going to go with this multi-hit in mechanism one over here, and this is basically going to allow us to absolutely it's going to allow us to nuke. So this is what we are going with Glay. You can go back and forth on these comps like I said, but I do like the loop that it provides, so that's what we are going with. I'm in Axion right now. There's people already running this mission that I was going to run, so we're going to back up and we're going to run this mission instead. So let's give this mission a quick rundown. I'm also doing this in a public lobby just so the Axion scaling or mob scaling or damage is at the absolute highest. Let me quickly throw a bike on just so that I can move a little bit faster with Glay. And yeah, okay, let's have a look at some gameplay now. So with this over here, just want to go on, start the mission up. Then we're just going to go into here. As for the relic's fire rate, I'll show you guys the difference. It's a very big difference, especially when you get into it. So I'm going to start off with the electric relic over here, and you can see, if you look closely at the fire rate, you can see this is kind of fast, right? It is kind of fast. It's solid fire rate all around, and you wouldn't be disappointed with this fire rate. But if we change from this fire rate with the relic up to this fire rate, you can see the difference. It's significantly faster using the toxic relic. The toxic relic has max fire rate, and trust me, with the relic, even the smallest difference in fire rate makes an absolute massive difference. That 1% between 59 and 60 on the restored relic makes a major difference. But you can see here, just in general, the relic is absolutely pounding these mobs and absolutely shredding them and ripping them apart. Even with the elemental rotation and with the slow fire rate of the electric relic, you can see here we are still wiping and doing crazy levels of damage and ripping these mobs apart very easily with the restored relic. Over here, let's get these 4-dimensional matter collapse things. Just slap that over there, pop up over into this corner. The relic cannot go through the wall, sadly. Actually, it kind of can. What the hell, that's scuffed. Okay, there you go. Get that one, grab this one too, and then even with this, you can go ahead and just jump down, nuke the rest of this over here. Even with these things over here, you can slam these sacks with one element, and then you can easily rotate yourself over to another. The relic is already a top tier weapon regardless, but when you use it in this style and this setup, it just becomes even better. If you just keep scanning with your receive, you can see when the mobs have decided to make themselves more resistant to whichever element it is that you are using. Once they do that, that's when you'd basically want to change up, and that's when you'd want to make sure that you switch your relic and then use the other one. But just in general, essentially all this is with Glay is just running and jumping around, and it's just optimal. Glay is just a top tier Descendant, and you know, using her the way that I've shown in this gameplay and just making sure to spam her third ability and use that loop as is, it's just the top tier experience with Glay, and she's one of the best Descendants to farm Axion with. Like I said, her damage is just there. She's just great. Did I actually need to interact with that thing? I think I do. We're cooked. Okay. Interact with this thing. Oh, there's one mob here, that's why. Best. Okay. Now let's go and deal with this. Even with this, with the improved drive shaft, if there's anything else that you want to do, you can make also nuke ships with Glay fairly easily. I forgot to mention that. Alright, let's take out the ship with Glay then. Where them ships are far. Can I even reach it in time? I don't think I can. Yep, we can. We're best. But I was going to say, with Glay, you can also nuke ships with the relic. All you got to do is lock onto them. Now, if you do want to nuke ships faster, make sure to use the DLC weapon. Oh, hello there. Alright, Steel Pincer. Let's show you this. Relic versus Steel Pincer is also a good fight because, you know, Relic never loses. And you can see here, he's got toxic resistance. We change over to our electric resistance now. And then he takes even more damage and we just rip him apart. It is important to have mixed up elements on your weapons. And even with this, with the final dungeon boss over here, let's quickly grab this dude. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Let's just rinse him with the toxic relic first. You can see here he's now got poison resistance. Even with that, let's just deal with the mobs over here with this, and then once we can deal with him, damage with him now, let's just use the restored relic, even though, oh sorry, the last dagger, even though he can fly. He was expecting toxic, he's not got the resistance to chill, and we're absolutely shredding him. Done and dusted. Restored relic and the last dagger is truly the combo when it comes to Glay. 4-minute run on here, you can absolutely get faster. I did lose a ton of time, but just in general, this is a pretty solid setup. This mission as well with Glay is a really good mission to run. It's a nice fast mission, but this is 100% the setup you are going to want to run on Glay. Like I said, if you want a little bit more duration, just change this over to the Firebrand, and you're basically bowling. So yeah, that's been this video. I hope you've enjoyed. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.